Good morning, folks, and welcome to FYI. For your information, it's the 15th day of November already, the 15th day. And you're all going to have to help us to decorate quite soon because it's pushing on to that. Well, we're right into that very special season, that very special time of the year. But we got a lot on our hands to deal with, folks, a lot of border issues. And it's each passing day, they keep upping the ante. And we're following all things Ghana, Venezuela border controversy. Got some updates for you guys this morning. We got some updates for you, fantastic folks. So stay locked in with us here. We're just ensuring that we are on all of the right pages, folks, and we encourage you to do the same. To share the live, to smash that emoji button as well. To make it as easy as possible. The guys tell us that they've added stars now. And folks who join us on Facebook, you can contribute via stars. If you don't know what that means, you'll know soon enough. You'll know soon enough, and it's just more evidence that you got a lot of homework to do. So you're gonna know soon enough what's happening on that front, folks. We're going to have Gavin Liverpool with us and Myrna Stobie. We're available also on YouTube, in the comment section on YouTube. There's that $sign. Folks, there's so much we want to do, but we're limited by the resources, and especially the financial resources to do so. We want to go out there in some of those border regions and see what's happening. Can't wait till December 3rd when both gonna fall and can't turn back. We want to see for ourselves and bring that to you, Godfrey Montaigne. Good to have you here, Orwin, John, and all the other folks joining us, Loretta Argyle. We want to bring that information to you now when it matters. Valid and credible information. And so we're encouraging you folks to continue to partner with us. I wish we didn't have to come and ask folks, but this is how we do it. This is how we do it so that we're not beholden to anyone. And because of the heavy political content of this program, oftentimes we find businesses are reluctant. They like the audience, it's their audience. Businesses want to be seen by the most amount of people. And we have a show that a lot of folks gravitate to. But the political nature of the program prevents that. And so that's why we come to you. Wish we didn't have to do it. Wish we had some deep pockets around this side, Orin Don, Vanessa Andrews. Wish we had some deep pocket around this side and we didn't have to come to you guys and ask. But here we are, folks, saying that we want to do so much more as we enter into our third year as a program. And we're trying on all fronts here. You better believe it. We are trying on all fronts to do differently. And as I said, to continue to bring you folks valid, credible information. We're just checking to make sure that we're good. Double checking some stuff. Checking to make sure we're good, folks. And we want to keep bringing you valid, credible information. And so we're encouraging you guys to share the live as you're on now. Hundreds of you are already on the broadcast. Smash that emoji button. The emojis don't, is not reciprocating how many folks are on the live. Let's know how you're feeling this morning, folks. And partner with us as well. It's a very, 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 very important part of our program, because without that, we're not going to be moving forward. We are not going to be moving forward. Good folks, and there's so many ways that you can do it. It's Cash App and Zelle, and saying happy anniversary is one thing, but helping us to stay on air for 3 more years, that's important to us. So we got Cash App that's available, and PayPal and Zelle, all for your convenience, and MoneyGram and Western Union, LMG as well. Good folks, and we can even accept your credit and debit cards now, all for your convenience. Very, very, very securely, because we understand ourselves how that kind of information, your financial information, is important to you, and securing it. And we use a system called Stripe. It's an international company that helps us to facilitate this feature, being able to accept credit and debit cards. And that last QR code there will take you directly to that page, or you can hit us up on our WhatsApp number, one and only 627-6963. We've had a number from the inception and we letting it go. 627-6963. It's our official contact number. That's the only number we do this kind of facilitation on, so that nobody can pull wool over your eyes. Good, folks? And so we encourage you, folks. We encourage each and every one of you to partner with us. And we stop telling you how much, because sometimes when we say $10 or $15, people think, yeah, it's past me. We could do more than that. So we don't say how much. We leave that up to you. You know your budget, and all of those are the integral things. But partner with us, good folks, this morning to help us to keep going. And as I said, we have a number of things we're following. So I'm very eager to get to that front. But folks, wherever you're joining us from this morning, wherever you're joining us from, we are happy that you folks are here with us. We are delighted, nothing short of delighted, that you good folks are here with us. Good to see you, Don, Joe, and Yolanda, and is it, who am I seeing here? George and the other folks. And while I'm at it, I want to recognize the Alistair Collins firm. These folks, we recommend them because we find them useful, right? They got an excellent team down there, folks. An excellent team that we trust and use ourselves. And we wouldn't tell you something that we don't believe in. We'd never, ever tell you, wonderful folks, something we ourselves don't believe in. And so we trust these guys for all your documentation need. If you need a good justice of the peace, a good commissioner of oaths to affidavits, and generally for all your documentation needs, they know what they're doing. They know what they're doing, and so we trust them in that regard. Pace and power, folks. We got a lot of things to get to, and I want to thank Donald George for that contribution via YouTube. When we're live on our YouTube channel, the comment section, that $sign there, you click on that, and it's gonna take you to some stickers and so on to purchase. And part of that contribution comes to our broadcast. And the same on Facebook. There's that stars feature. There's that in the comment section. You'll see something looking like a star. You click on that, it asks you to purchase some stars, and part of that comes to our broadcast as well. And as I said, we got all those other platforms that we use to ensure that you guys have the convenience of contributing to our program on very, very, very short notice. You all are hearing some things around your side. Do let us know. Don't keep all these stories to yourselves. Yeah, something happening by your side, you get some information, juicy and nice. Reach out to us and let us know, so we can give it coverage. We can give it coverage, good folks. What else we here for? Not just with good looks. We got plenty of that. Somebody was telling me in Linden I have a very dry humor. Well, people say the nicest things to you. People say the nicest things to you. Well, why, thank you. Well, hold on. One woman I met in Linden said she's child father. There must have been a little drunken night. And then she asked a contribution to a raffle. You see? Where's the old head in this business? You understand this thing, Where's the old head in this business? She said, use my child father, Mr. Duncan. My child father. They even one. Not even one, good folks. She said, use my child father. Right? So I tell you all first. I tell you all first. If you got a story for us, folks, that same number. One number all the time. 627-6963. I'm telling you what the lady said. I should share and father. Folks, they said we got a lot to share with you guys this morning. So just want to get to some of that, folks. Full speed ahead. Venezuela said they're backing down. That's what they told the National Court of Justice this morning. The ICJ. Folks, Randy Cole said she was raffling off the child. And I get the first prize. There's that humor, Randy. There's that humor. Randy says she raffling up the chair and I get the first prize. You see? Sean Fortune says she's being smart. Edward say here, Debbie Collins says loud and clear. Technician Debbie Collins always on duty. Venezuela said they're going full speed ahead. Good folks. Full speed ahead. And those of you who didn't get a chance to see our broadcast last night, we focused exclusively on this existential threat that is Venezuela on our borders, to our territorial integrity. They stepped up to back before the ICJ this morning. And they said they're going full speed ahead. Last evening we showed you, and I want to show you again, Carl Greenwich, former Minister of Finance, former Foreign Affairs Minister, telling the ICJ yesterday morning, we put our hope and our trust in God and in the courts. We understand we don't have big guns and artillery like the Venezuelans, but we don't factor out the Almighty and the judicial process to which we are committed before the ICJ. Carl Greenwich, folks, before the ICJ.
I stand here today. Guyana's right to over 2/3 of its territory are threatened, not only by irreparable injury, but by permanent loss. As I stand before the court, there is still time to act to protect the authority of the court and to stop Venezuela from carrying out its intended fait accompli, before it secures the purported mandate to reject the court as the means of settlement of the dispute over which the court has already determined that it has jurisdiction, before it secures a purported mandate to turn the Essequibo region into the new Venezuelan state of Guyana Esquiva and incorporate it into the map of Venezuelan territory. I cannot stress enough the urgency of the situation that brought us here today and the necessity for provisional measures to prevent irreparable and potentially permanent loss of the rights claimed by Guyana in this case. Madam President, for Guyana, the international rule of law is sacrosanct, and respect for it is indispensable to international peace and security. In Guyana's case in particular, it is essential to Guyana's territorial integrity and survival as a sovereign and independent state. In March 2018, Guyana placed its trust in the court to exercise its jurisdiction under the 1966 Geneva Agreement and the 2018 decision of the Secretary General to resolve the controversy over the validity of the 1899 arbitral award and the related question of the settlement of the land boundary between Guyana and Venezuela. The court has given two judgments, confirming its jurisdiction in regard to these issues. Guyana has not wavered in its trust in the court. It is the only means for achieving a just, final, and binding solution to the controversy between the two parties in accordance with international law. The court alone stands between such a solution and chaos. Chaos that would threaten peace and security for Guyana and for the Caribbean region and beyond. Confirms that international law strictly prohibits the government of one state from unilaterally seizing, annexing, or incorporating the territory of another state. An affirmative vote, as aforesaid, opens the door to the possible violation of this fundamental tenet. Madam President, it would be naive to pretend that an affirmative vote in Venezuela's referendum is not inevitable, having regard to the choice of questions and their formulation. As CARICOM has noted, the intention is to open the gate, a gate that Venezuela's government has already indicated in their public declarations they are eager to pass through, with the popular blessing of the Venezuelan public. Only the court stands as the guardian to that gateway. Only the court can protect Guyana and its rights at issue in this case from the irreparable harm that would certainly befall it if Venezuela is permitted to cross that threshold into the seizure and incorporation of the territory, whose ultimate fate is to be determined by the court, not by the unilateral action of either of the two parties. Only the court can prevent the imminent annexation of tens of thousands of square kilometers of Guyanese territory. In these circumstances, Guyana looks to the court to safeguard these rights by applying the principles of international law faithfully, fairly, and impartially. Guyana remains steadfast in its trust that the court will do so. I stand here today.
Again, folks, that was Mr. Carl Greenwich before the ICJ yesterday morning, making the case for Guyana. And then we had also Professor Alan Pillay making a very, very strong case on the effects that this annexation, proposed annexation, there's nobody who believed that, as they want to say it this morning before the ICJ, they're not going to invade or seize this land, Venezuela, telling the ICJ, but they're going to go ahead with a referendum. Professor Alan Pillay, an expert in these maritime issues, said that a lot of harm could come to Guyana if this referendum is to go forward. Listen to what he said before the ICJ yesterday morning in Guyana's case.
This request for guarantees of non-repetition, this third measure is forward-looking and is intended to prevent further actions, unfortunately quite likely, aimed at making your future judgment non-enforceable. It would not be enforceable, Madam President, were Venezuela to follow through on its resolution in its present form. Nor could your judgment be applied if Venezuela were to convene the electoral body to rule in connection with another consultation that it might organize on one or several questions that could prejudge the solution that the court is called upon to decide. There are three examples of unacceptable questions in the list of measures required by Guyana are aimed at preventing such an outcome. They are not exhaustive, because we have simply given up to try to match the creativity displayed by Venezuela's counsel on the means that could be devised to attempt to prevent you from exercising your jurisdiction. The fourth request put forward by Guyana, that you can also see on the screen, is in the same spirit. It aims to prevent that Venezuela take on the ground that which it fears will not be recognized by your judgment, sovereignty over the territory that the 1899 award granted to the UK, and that has been exercised by Guyana since it became independent in 1966. In truth, everything that I've just said in support of our third request is also applicable to the fourth request. Here again, we are talking about preventing that force prevail over the law, that Guyana's plausible rights be irremediably harmed, and that your judgment be eviscerated before it is even handed down. That would undeniably be the case were Venezuela to take steps aimed at exercising its sovereignty or de facto control over the territory or any part thereof that the 1899 award recognizes as belonging to the UK and then to British Guyana. This fear is not baseless. This would inevitably be the case if Venezuela, armed with an affirmative response to its biased referendum questions, would go ahead with the creation of its territory of a state, that is to say, a Venezuelan province that would be called Guyana Essequiba, or were it to grant citizenship or to grant ID cards to Guyanese citizens living in the territory, or it were to publish official car maps incorporating the territory into Venezuela. It would also be true were Venezuela to carry out any other administrative or enforcement measure in this territory that is administered by Guyana, in that it has been peacefully controlling for over 150 years. And this possibility is not an illusory fear. On October 3rd, the Venezuelan National Guard was patrolling the Cuyuni River in the Essequibo region, heavily armed, and claiming that we are patrolling in our Essequibo as part of our territorial defense system. Our military troops are patrolling as a single unit, exercising our sovereignty because the son of Venezuela was born in the Essequibo.
Aux essais, comme vous avez pu l'entendre.
As you heard, Essequibo is ours.
Yeah, that is what Professor Alan Piles told the International Court of Justice yesterday morning. So the issues are very dire. And I hope nobody watching us believes that this is just, some little thing happening here. Very, very serious. As a matter of fact, we saw news source, for instance, reporting that the Venezuelans are still constructing that airstrip on our borders, and the intention is that, according to the Venezuelan authorities, this is going to help them to develop their Venezuela Essequibo. So it's very, very serious. And again, I asked the question we asked on our other broadcast last evening. Are the authorities doing enough to educate and sensitize? It's not just enough to be in the right. The people got to know they have a right. That's quite important. And I would figure any of us can answer that question. Do you feel all that's in our power to be done is being done? And those are some very, very legitimate questions. Is all that can be done being done? As I said, the folks tell us, they're developing. Apologies there. They're developing that airstrip. Right? Again, it's full speed ahead. Full speed ahead. They said they have no thought of quitting this referendum. And so, folks, again, the issues are you all could just take it easy. And let's pretend nothing is happening here. Let us pretend nothing is happening here while airstrips and so on are being set up. That's what I wanted to get to. Dolly Anderson, that's the seriousness of the situation here. Tessa Isaacs, Graves Andy, Randy Cole, Reno Cummins, Kamal Prasad. That's the seriousness of the situation. This is news source reporting that this airstrip is still being set up. Still being set up, folks. So we have a lot to contend with on this front. A lot of contend with on this front. And one would think that as we were in the throes of this controversy, I've never seen it at this fever pitch. And those of you who are older than I and have more experience and more institutional knowledge can tell us if you've ever seen it at this fever pitch. Sevilla Richards, Lyndon Gill, very, very serious people setting up the airstrip, such and so forth. Again, just some of the issues, Forbes, Bedou's, that we are following this morning. Just some of the very, very pertinent issues we're looking at. And you all could recoil and relax in some false sense of security. We got this. There's a school of thought out there that believes that even if, even if this thing goes in our favor at the ICJ, them boys won't got no time for that. The powers that be wouldn't have any time with that. That's a school of thought out there. Even if the ICJ says definitively that this land belongs to us, we got to be looking down the road. We have to be looking down the road and putting on some costume and pretending you're a general ain't gonna cut it. Ain't gonna cut it. It's not gonna cut it. And no amount of money that Jack Leo got, he and Sue put together, gonna buy us out of that quandary. So I hope Jack Leo and Fun, Elizabeth Harper and Hugh Todd, Robert Prasad and Ralph Ramkaran sit down somewhere and say, boys, what are we going to do here? So Vito Richard captures it well. It is very serious right now. Roxanne Garraway says, no, it was never this fever pitch in the past. I remember 1982, she says. I was scared. And Essequibo is ours, but we got to get a plan. How we can keep it ours. And I know Shivna Ryan Chandra Paul Drive got to be at its wit's end. Because Barra Jagdio is no Forbes Burnham. There's no match for what's in Caracas. Are we doing all we can do? Right? Sharon Castro Edwards says it's 2 peas in a pot. Naomi Drucker says Jagdio will give them a channel out. Put he in the channel he go to. Don't leave it behind. Right? Put he in the channel to go out as well. Randy Cole says Critic will get a contract to build a wall in this Essequibo, like Trump, to keep out the Venezuelans. I have no doubt. Randy, I have no doubt. Bird Nest will get a contract to build a wall to keep them out. I have no doubt. That should be the case. Folks, we fall in some other issues as well. Yolanda Thomas says Jagdio needs to be jailed. Needs to be jailed. One of the letters in the press this morning is one by a gentleman named Colin Haynes. We're following this one. He says, Irfan is being disingenuous. Now, he harkens back to those comments made by Mr. former President Ramachar, which Irfan says that he's an expert. Just like how Jagdio to tell Mrs. Jagan, he's a private citizen, shut your mouth. Folks, if we didn't see Jagdio then, you can never see, you know. The woman that gave him the crown, put the crown on his head, turn and bite the woman's hand. You could trust him. You could trust him. There's nothing new to Jagdio. We've seen all we'll see. It's just corruption, corruption, corruption. Haynes says, don't come around Ramachar funny. He says the president's imprudent comment on everyone being an expert is unfounded for a nation that has highly literate and can clearly see, highly literate people and can clearly see when they are being duped into experiencing a lack of leadership and is experiencing a lack of leadership. The populace don't need high-level academics to figure out when they're being robbed. It's true. When you see the gun, the knife, the ice pick, and the robber man, you know it's robbed, you're being robbed. You're going to get definition. But rather, a wise leader, Colin Haynes says, would listen to the concerns of his constituents to adopt a fair deal that will further promote the growth and development of the world's second fastest growing economy. Right? But Colin said it really truly. Has there ever been UG? For no corruption when you see it? It's there. Right in front of your eyes. Right in front of your eyes. Thank you, Colin, for this sober reminder. Very, very sober reminder. As I was telling you, folks, it's our 3rd anniversary, folks. You cannot imagine. I can give you some behind the scenes. I'll give you a little behind the scenes how exhausting sometimes. It gets. Right? Not in curating the information, but just in presenting it. But we have a passion, and that is what buoys us. That there are people out there, Annette Cummins, relying on us, Don Sullivan and Jason James, relying on us for valid, credible information, especially those of you who are in the diaspora and don't get a chance to get the information necessarily firsthand. And we understand how very, very important it all is to you folks. Right? And I get the chance to mix some of the work that I do as a member of the National Assembly. And this work, bringing you guys valid, credible information. And folks like Randy have been so instrumental to us in the past. And Randy, I hope ever so often, when you see some footage and so on, you see your efforts at work. You see your efforts at work. And I hope that folks like Randy and Margaret, you know, for instance, when you saw us talk about that senior policeman who got land in a fancy place on the East Bank. He took up a whole field, playing field, demarcated for the community. Somebody give you a big portion. Because of the technology, we get a sense of the scope. Lisa Remy said, Guyana for sale is true. It's true. So we're not buying beers and cake and so on, even though we wish we could. But I want to bring more sensitization to this whole issue of Essequibo and the threats, existential threats, according to our agent before the ICJ, Carl Greenwich. An existential threat to our sovereignty. And folks, I'm asking you folks to come on board and partner with us so that we could do more. Might be a street corner meeting. Might be going to what is the name of the place? Some of these border communities where they're building the airstrip, where the presence is amassing and mobilizing troops. We don't have the means. Government is not even interested in that. It's not even interested. I'm seeing no consistent coverage. As a matter of fact, I didn't even see government news channels carry the Venezuelan arguments. We got to hear this thing before the court. We just want to hear ourselves. Hear the other side. Is an important tenet in international law. Well, in law, period. Hear the other side. So we ain't talking, so we blanco. It's typical of them. They never want to hear an opposition. They're not talking, so they just lash out the whole thing. And I tell you, it's been some sleepless nights getting here. And that's why I have such profound respect for folks like Gordon Mosley. Right? How much years Gordon celebrated? Are they 10, 15, 20? Can't remember the figure. And you look at these guys and you say, good guys, out here a long time doing this business. Valid, credible information. And so, folks, we continue to ask you guys to partner with us so that we can keep on keeping on. As I said, we got a very secure link for those of you who got a credit or a debit card. We're available via Cash App and Zelle and PayPal, MMG. Hit us up on our WhatsApp. Our WhatsApp number 26276963. All your contribution, building a house and buying fancy car, wining and dining, is aimed at continually bringing you folks valid, credible information. That's what we have a passion, and especially in this season where the jagabats flitting around. I sure some of them done got a plane at Chedi Jagan. private, chartered. Things come to the worst, they're gone, We right here. We born and grow here, not a blade of grass, folks. And so we're asking for your contribution, especially in this season, not only for our anniversary, but to just do more sensitizing people. Might be a street corner, whistle stop meeting in a communities, going to some place to get valid, credible information. When the folks quote some fees, my God, I want to go to, for instance, give you a sense of what I'm talking about. I want to go to Region 9 to cover some issues. Right? It's close to $100,000 for plane flight to Region 9 in your own country. And then the guys say, to get from Letem to some of the other areas is $40,000, $50,000, $60,000. But there are stories there that need to be told that are valid and credible. I've been asking the folks, how do we get to Itabali? Am I calling it right? Where they're doing the mobilization? How do we get there? When they quote the cost? But we got to do it because we need to see what's happening and show our people and the world what is happening here. Because how you get this in niceness, fastest growing economy, highest GDP, high income country. But we're not giving people a good sense of this existential threat that is on our borders. And that is my plea to you folks. To not only come and consume the information like food at a diner, at a bistro, at a cafe, and then you're gone. Right. But if you find any value in the information we give here, right, leave a tip. That's what we say. Leave a tip. If you value, if you attach any value to the information that you receive here, leave a tip to help us keep going. We're not going to tell you how much. Karen Mohammed, Rihanna Mingo, right? We're not going to tell you how much. Leave that up to your judgment. But that being said, the Canadians are here with us. Some members of the Canadian Parliament are here with us through the IPA, I think is the name of it, International Parliamentary Association. And they've been making the rounds. I'm going to be part of a meeting with them and the leader of the opposition later on in the afternoon. Looking forward to that. I see a lot of chatter happening too about the fact-finding team that is here. It's quite interesting. I saw Joel Bagwandin and some other folks talking about this fact-finding team. It's interesting because when we had the presidential COI, a whole commission of inquiry into the 2020 general regional elections, the whole COI, they didn't mention anything about the chairman, Khaled Singh, whitewashed report, scrub out Khaled. It's like if Khaled don't even exist. It's like if GCOM don't have a chairman. But I didn't hear Joel and Jailal and the others. You got a whole commission of inquiry into the Mahdia dormitory fire. The minister commissioned a report in the dorms. The report says that Mahdia, secondary school dormitory, female dormitory, needed urgent attention. Priya had it for a year. That COI didn't call Priya. And they're not worried about that. Oh, it's the fact-finding team on the mine. Because they can control the people who make up the 40-member strong team. That's the biggest worry. Right? These are the people who pick up rage selectively. Right? The guardians who guard conveniently. Right? But we're not going to talk about that. I'm happy to see the Canadians are here with us. Looking forward to that courtesy call with them later on today. Tomorrow we're meeting with the that fact-finding team as well. It's a full week, folks. It's a full week, and then we got what's happening on our borders to contend with, the hearing before the ICJ and all of that to contend with. It's a full week, but we're committed to bringing you valid, credible information. June, Waterton says, shut the country down. Randy Cole said, Claudette is like an ordinary citizen, only needed when elections to support the PPP. Correct. Correct. Best wishes to the Canadian team visiting with us. Folks, you know fluff and bluff when you hear it. Apparently, PPP MP, Mr. Siraj, was on a show recently talking about efforts by the government to reduce the Caribbean import bill, right? And lots of what he said is just fluff and bluff. Folks, you better know fluff and bluff when you hear it. So CARICOM has said it's at this target of reducing its food import bill by 25% by 2025. All right. Here's Siraj fluff and bluff. All right. Siraj expressed confidence in Evans Ali's take on this whole issue and the achievability of this goal, citing the government's commitment to supporting farmers. Here it is, adopting modern technology, whatever that means, right? He said he emphasized the role of technology as a fundamental pillar. What does that mean in realizing this 25% reduction? When you read this article here, it's a whole set of fluff and bluff. Nothing you could stick a penny and say, look, something concrete to do it. Re-engineering some fertilizer or, you know, something like that. Improving grafting. It's a whole set of fluff and bluff. The process is catching on. I think, fortunately, so, because the process is one of the pillars that we have to stand on to achieve. They say a lot. But when you pass it, they say nothing at all, you know. This is Member of Parliament Kumar Siraj. Dharam Kumar Siraj, Member of Parliament. Fluff and bluff. Wasting taxpayers' money out here. One whole article, you can't get one serious point out of it. He just had to say something. Moving on. Munishwars has secured a judgment, a decision out of the High Court, the Chief Justice. You see them vendors blocking up the people's business? You better go your way. And in this judgment, the Chief Justice has instructed the City Council to move those vendors. You know, the Chief Justice has pointed out something here. Understanding who has jurisdiction for the city streets. Why shouldn't call Robeson Ben? It reminds me of some vendors by the hospital. Robeson them sweep down with some trucks, hoist up the people, caravans and so on. Why, unlike Munishwars, the hospital didn't approach the courts? That's another story. The Chief Justice understands jurisdiction. Why shouldn't tell the police force, go move the vendors? Why shouldn't tell the GDF? Why shouldn't tell the bishop to go move the vendors? She understands jurisdiction. So she's instructed City Hall to please ensure that these vendors are not encroaching. I know as we were talking law, I'll be talking a lot of law with this border controversy. There's a maxim that your right ends where my right begins. And the two things are coexist. The vendor's right got to coexist with Munishwar rights. Because if you allow anything otherwise, next thing you know, vendors in the door of Munishwar selling. or they move in Munishwars and selling. So their right to coexist in whatever socioeconomic circumstances got to end where Munishwars' right as a business to operate their business begin. And we got to keep balancing those things. That's going to be the trade-off. Wish them well with that. So we saw the UNICEF and the CDC, Civil Defense Commission, partnering to bring awareness to schools. And it's important because we're not being told too often about this, just like what's happening on our borders, and with that Guyana-Venezuela border controversy. It's just hot. Since PP gone in August 2nd, 2020. Just hot. Hot. Then Lal says the flaring out there by ExxonMobil. The flaring, folks, well, the CDC says this heat, this dry spell is going to continue in the 2024. So you all better anchor down. You all feel the heat out there, folks? You all feel the heat out there? I realize how hard it is to cover some of these stories. You know, you got to be out there. When I took off my watch the other day, and I saw the difference between where the watch blocks and the rest of me. The sun cooking way out there, folks. It's hot. And I know this is not just Guyana. It is hot. Hot. But stay hydrated and make the best of it. We did some walking around in Linden and Block 22 over the weekend, in Mackenzie Market area over the weekend. Hot. The amount of water I drank on Saturday, I probably drank it my whole life. My wife would have been very happy. It's hot. Step boys. Since they come in, it's one cross to the next in this country of ours. But civil defense saying this thing will continue. This dry spell, this heat wave, it's going to continue. This taxi driver, his wife said, he had to play dead when some men he picked up at the junction, I think, in Region 3, punctured him. Sean Smith punctured him. The wife said they were Spanish speakers, Spanish from a lot of different parts of the world. So I ain't not going to want to assume. But he said they were Spanish speakers. Right? Yeah. The man's wife in a telephone conversation reporting to Kaicho News, right, said that they were getting closer to the destination. Her husband asked, how far more we gotta go? How far more? Instead of responding, the men launched a brutal attack on him. She claimed that the passenger in the front seat started to stab him with a knife while they demanded he gives them cash and his phone, these Spanish speakers. Folks, we do not and dare not show the picture plainly. He reportedly gave them the cash and they continued the assault. They reportedly dragged him out of the car. Two of them held him down while another kicked him in the head. The other searched his car. The bandits also, according to the reports, attempted to cut off Smith's neck with a grass knife. They attempted to cut off Smith's neck with a grass knife, but he played dead to save his life. After they ain't stopping, he decided to stop move, like play dead. His wife said, and that simple act is what saved Sean Smith's life. From these bandits, these, according to the report, Spanish-speaking passengers in the wee hours of Saturday morning at Ruby Back Dam, East Bank, Essequibo. That simple act saved Sean Smith's life from these Spanish-speaking bandits. Yeah. Yeah. You know, there's a school of thought here that what we have is a soft invasion, and folks are only waiting on a dog whistle to get into action. Saints Mother, we see you there. We're only waiting on the dog whistle to spring into action. Yeah. This next story is out of Linden. The simple guard hut, Saints Mother, Waverly Dores, Edward Brooms, Irvin Don Cook. This simple guard hut, Wisrock Primary School, 1.3. Folks, if this was so serious, it'd be alarmingly funny. The PPP could thief 1.3 million. Magnell Barrow, Savita Richards, Maureen Chichester Paul, 1.3. Folks, smash that emoji button for us now. That helps the algorithm tell Facebook this is interesting content. Let's push it out to more people. When you share the live, that's the effect. It's not this show popular. We can tell you that. We want more people to get the content. Maureen Chichester Paul, 1.3 million. Folks, like drink this little coffee. It doesn't cool. That's what the folks tell us. They want answers on the comments. Right? Yolanda Thomas is in your hometown. 1.3 million. Them boys could thief Sean a fortune. You understand what we mean when we say Alibaba and the 40 thieves? It's a scam net. A scam net. Not a cabinet. It's a scam net. 1.3 million. Wisrock Primary School. Oh, Father have his mercies. Father have his mercies. 1.3. You know? Yeah. Mauritius has a new ambassador here in Guyana. I've been told Mauritius is a very beautiful place. Folks, remind me, I'm trying to remember the geography. Is this on the South Pacific? Remind me. But I've been told that Mauritius is a beautiful, extremely beautiful. Kyle Bino wants to know the guard hut got flat screen TV, AC, and jacuzzi and gas stove. 1.3 million. And so we have accredited the new Mauritian ambassador. Peace and power to him. Peace and power to him. You see? Want to recommend also the editorial in today's Starbucks News as required reading. It touches on concerns, to use a legal phrase, the sports fraternity in Guyana. Want to recommend that to you folks as recommended reading. We can get a chance to delve too much in it, but we want to say welcome to Parmanand Jagru, the new non-resident High Commissioner of Mauritius to Guyana. Welcome, Your Excellency Parmanan Jagru. He presented his credentials to the president yesterday. Yep. Welcome to him on that front, folks. Rex Pereira is going to be honored. This figure from the sporting fraternity, well known, his works, his exploits, well respected. He's going to be honored with an honorary doctorate by the University of Guyana. Pace and power. Rex, pace and power, Reds. Pace and power. Well deserved. And before we let you go, the man who was fingered in murdering Ramona Lal at the Sunset Hotel, her husband, her hubby, whatever he is an ex-soldier, an ex-prison service officer as well. And there's a manhunt underway for him. The 14-year-old boy who beat the other one at Golden Grove Secondary School in his head with a bat, resulting in brain injury of that student. He's been charged. He's been charged. Kaitro News tells us that Minister Vikram Bharat is ducking questions over who will pay for oil spill costs outside of the Starbucks block. I could see Vikram ducking. He evaded the questions. And then they tell us also that small miners rather, have been allocated claims that Troy Resources held. You know, Troy Resources get away and left them 2-point-something billion owed to Guyana. Troy's vanish. Right? Jack Wilson got little assets wrong the place. Aye. When you find a Paku, you got to bust the back. You got to bust the back. That's what Troy Resources did to this government. That's what Troy Resources did to this regime. Bust the back. Troy Resources, bust the back. And it Cummins says Mauritius is located east of Madagascar, on the east coast, on the southeast coast of Africa. Thank you very much, Sandra. Rather, Annette. It's on the southeast coast of Africa. Yep, east of Madagascar, Mauritius. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that. You see, that's what the good book says, you know. Iron sharpens. I couldn't remember the exact location. I could see it in my head, but I couldn't figure it out. Thank you very much. There's where it is. The southeast coast of Africa, east of Madagascar, Mauritius. They say it's a beautiful, beautiful place. Folks, that's going to do it for us this morning. That's going to do it for us at this end this morning. Good to have had each and every one of you here. Jerry Apple, Unity Elias, Annette Cummins, all the good folks out with us this morning, all the good folks. Good to have you, wonderful folks. Folks, y'all better stay vigilant. Y'all better stay vigilant. If the PP not taking this issue seriously, y'all better take it seriously. Maureen to Chester, Debbie Collins, Beryl Crawford, Cheryl Sampson. Cheryl, I didn't see your name pop by in a little while there. Good to have you, Cheryl. Robin Ryan, good to have you here as well. And Wanda, Elizabeth Ryan, Raymond Ryan, the whole Ryan crowd. Rihanna Mingo, good to see you as well, folks. That's going to do it for a time at this end. And stay safe. Remember, folks, running it very quickly. You need a good justice of the peace commissioner votes to affidavit. Also Collins form 649-6410. Right on near the Callion Mall and Camp Street on Lamaha Street between Camp and Waterloo. The Callion Mall on the ground floor on Lamaha Street between Camp and Waterloo. 649-6410. 685-6448. Yep. Don't keep them juicy stories to yourself. Them stories like that Garrett Hut. Wizard 1.3 million. Please don't keep it to yourself. Begging. And partner with us as well, folks, so that we can keep on keeping on. Pace and power, folks, until our next broadcast. You want to know how? You need any guidance on the part of it. 627-6963. The one number that we have, 627-6963. That's going to do it for us. Listen, stay safe. Boom. Yep.